So, welcome to Wisdom Soup, you guys. For those of you who are new here for the first time, Wisdom Soup, we've been having Wisdom Soup for, I think it has been over 5 years, maybe 6 now. I lose track. But we have been getting together and to talk about all of our favorite woo-woo topics. So it started part as a community, but also as a forum for learning. And the idea behind the name Wisdom Soup is that you can make your soup out of whatever you want to. So you get to pick and choose which ingredients you want to put in your own soup. So the idea here is it's a forum for us to just talk about all the different things, and then you pick and choose what works for you and what resonates for you. And I know on my journey that it's been a very slow accumulation of things. There was things that I was really resistant to, or in the beginning, that now I just accept as like, oh yeah, of course there are elves. And of course crystals are not just rocks. And there was a time when I would have been like, no way, that's so woo woo. So anyways, everybody, wherever you are in your journey and whatever resonates for you, that's the idea, is we come together and we just open and allow and then receive what we want. So today we have a very, very cool speaker, someone I'm super excited to introduce you to. For those of you who don't know her yet, she is very light and bright and shiny. Her name is Camron Momyer. And what part of the reason I wanted to invite her to speak with us today is because I had several people in my Facebook group. And if you're not part of that, it's Spirit Means Business. Several people who have requested in that for self-healing techniques. And I totally get it, because right now there are crazy energies hitting the planet. And even for those of you who are practicing healers, how many of you are practicing healers that are not always super rigorous about keeping your energy clean, right? It's like brushing your teeth and, flossing and doing all the things that it's always welcome to have a reminder to do our energy hygiene, and then some new techniques that could potentially bolster your current practice. So I wanted to invite Camron with us. The reason I thought of Camron is because she specifically teaches this. So this is part of her curriculum. And Camron has a phenomenal background. She's a practicing energy intuitive and teacher. So she does do individual sessions, and she also teaches. She has a lifetime background in spiritual learning. So she has a BA in mysticism, a master's in holistic systems. And she's been for over a decade teaching yoga and Vedic philosophy around the world. So she has, over that time period, just gathered a really, really broad toolkit, which I'm super excited for her to share with us. So with that, I would love to introduce you to Camron Momyer. So welcome, Camron.
Thank you, Anne. I appreciate it so much. I'm going to put me back on gallery view so I can see you all. Okay. Yeah. That didn't mess up your view, right?
No, you're good.
Okay. I'm so happy to see all these faces. I actually know so many of you. Hi, Monique. Hi, Randy. Hi, Susan. So, and Andrea, nice to see you. So it's so nice to see you all. So I realize it's a really mixed group today. So a lot of you are healers already. And so like Anne said, hopefully what I'm sharing today will be helpful. I know I enjoy hearing the way other healers approach these really basic concepts that we're going to talk about today, but they're foundational concepts. So when Anne asked me to do this, I thought, well, what could I share that, what do I feel like people can't live without? What are the 3 things that I could not live without if I just had to pick 3? And so you healers in the group might be able to guess what I'm going to do, but we're going to talk about grounding, clearing, and centering. And we'll talk a little bit about my journey with each of those things. And so for the people who are new to energy healing, you might really resonate with this. We'll open it up for a little bit of conversation, because I would love to hear how you guys do these things as well. Everybody's a little bit different. But yeah, we'll start with those 3 things, and then if we have time left over, we'll have some conversation, or we'll do a couple of extra things after that. Are we ready? We look good? Thumbs up? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So let's talk about grounding first. This is the tricky one. So this was one of all of these things, actually. Anytime I would go to healer when I first started, they'd be like, oh, you're really ungrounded. Wow, you have like so many people in your energy field. Let's clear you. And it was just over and over and over. And I feel like it took me the first I've been doing this for 20 years. It definitely took me the first 12 years before I felt like I really had it. Like, okay, I really got this. And still today, it's a practice that I have to practice every single day. And so grounding, there's so many different ways to ground, right? You can take a saltwater bath. You can go stand in your grass. You can go jump in the ocean. You can exercise, weight. I feel like doing weightlifting and weight-bearing exercise is really grounding. But for me, what I find to be the most helpful is just to get still and to be still. And so we're going to practice a little bit of that today. And I just want to say, grounding is one of those things that with all these concepts, I think of them as being very, it's much more literal than I used to think. When I first joined, it was very mystical concepts these were, but they're actually very literal. So grounding, you can think of it like grounding your house. So the reason we ground our house, right? We have a grounding cord that goes into the earth so that when your house gets hit by lightning, it doesn't fry up your house. The lightning, the electricity goes down into the ground. It's the same thing with your body. So you can think about your body as a house. When you are not, so this is how I know I'm not grounded. It's that I'm not dealing with stress very well at all. I feel like the stress that's coming into my life is frying my circuit, literally. When I'm grounded, I feel like whatever's going on around me is just going on around me. And it's just like the stress just goes right through me and into the ground, and it doesn't fry my circuits up. Mm-hmm. So we're going to practice a technique that I call the pinball technique. And this actually comes from Marie Manuchehri, who's a local healer, is really well known. And I have been practicing this one for a very long time. So if you guys want to join, you can close your eyes. And Donna Eden talks about placing your hands on your thighs as a way of grounding, face down, the palms on your thighs. So you can totally try that as well. But just take a breath in and take a breath out. And then I want you to begin to imagine that you have, if you had 100 pinballs of energy to your name that belong to you, for most of us, those 100 pinballs of energy are bouncing around in our brains at all times. We want to take those pinballs of energy and we want to drop them in and down, in and down. So you can think you need about 2 of those pinballs of energy for your brain, and you need the rest of them in your body. Intuition, especially if you're working in this field, intuition is a full body experience. You don't need so much in your brain, you need it in your body. So you're going to take a breath into your brain, and when you exhale, I want you to imagine, sense, or feel, or just know that those pinballs are beginning to drop down out of your brain into your throat. Take a breath there and exhale the pinballs down into your heart, your shoulders, your arms. Take a breath there into your chest. And when you exhale, imagine, sense, or feel this pinballs dropping down into your upper belly, mid belly, lower belly. Take a breath in. And exhale, imagine, sense, or feel these pinballs dropping into your seat. And let them gather at your seat. Take a moment to really feel your physical body. Feel your physical seat on whatever it is you're sitting on. If your feet are touching the ground, feel your physical feet. So I always tell my students, in order to feel your energy body, you have to feel your physical body first. And then take one more breath into your legs. And you are grounded, ideally. And then open your eyes and just notice how you feel. And then I'd love to hear, thank you, Susan, that was a thumbs up. I'd love to hear from you guys, especially any of you who have experience with with grounding, I'm curious to know how you know you're not grounded and how you know when you are grounded. So if you want to type it into the chat, Anne's going to moderate for us. How do you know when you are grounded and how do you know when you're not grounded? And think about this. This is for all the people who are going to be watching later on YouTube who are new to this. I know most of you guys in here are healers, because I recognize you.
I would add that I know I'm grounded when I feel floaty. So particularly after a session, if I come down and I feel it's a floaty feeling, and then I need to ground to make sure that I'm fully back in my body after a session.
Sure.
How about you guys? Let's see. We got one. Monique says anxiety. Yeah, that's a huge one. Thank you for adding that. You're absolutely right. That's a really great way to notice it. Linda says, I am not grounded when I get irritable or resentful. Oh, wow. Abir says, heart beats really fast when I am not. Sishu says, when I'm anxious, I'm not grounded. Susan says, excellent description from my experience, those pinballs bouncing around my head. That was great. I love that technique, Cameron. Thank you so much for sharing that. Wendy Witt says, when I'm not grounded, I respond by habit of old instead of who I am now. Oh my gosh, that is so good, Wendy. Yes, it's like you sort of lose yourself. You forget to be present. So I love that connection of being grounded to being present. You're so right. And Susan says, thank you for that. Donna says, disconnected, scattered, and not clear on anything. Yeah. So when you're grounded, you get that presence where you feel a lot more clarity. And we say, let's see. Sishu also says, also when you are ruminating in speculation. So like the mind, mind worrying. Andrea says, if I do really high energy work in the evening, I can be challenged to be grounded and able to sleep that night. Yeah. So I think that's a great one, is if we have a hard time going to bed at night, if you're wound up, to try grounding. Yeah. Some people even get those, like there's grounding sheets you can buy, like mats you can stick on. I wouldn't go that far, but they do sell those. So if you have like an anxiety spinning at night, that might be something to try. Annie says, I move more slowly, calmly, and deliberately, and with focus. Monique, question, who is the person who taught the technique? So we can share that. Marie Manucherry, right?
That's right. And her energyintuitive.com.
Yeah. And Brandy is asking, she says, I usually feel like my head's a balloon when I'm not grounded, and I can certainly feel the difference when I become the observer once again. Yeah. And she says adding, or when you are around too many different energies and tense up. Yeah. Great. I love that. Thank you guys. It's like such a great pool of wisdom that we have gathered here. So thank you so much for adding all that. You guys are right on.
It's so fun. It is. Okay. I love it. Okay. Thank you guys. Okay. So the next thing we're going to work with is clearing. And so I want to say, like, grounding, centering, and clearing. I'm separating these three things out just for the purpose of teaching and learning. But really, like, when you get these three things down, you can do them in a moment, like 3 breaths, and you're grounded, centered, and cleared. But let's separate them so we can think about them as different things. Clearing, super important. So for those of us who identify as sensitive people, and we're sensitive to other people's energies or the things going on in the world, clearing is so important. And I've really, really been feeling this in the last 2 years. Like I have to up my game a little bit on the clearing. So how do you know when you need it? I'll just talk about me first, and then I'm going to open up to you guys after we do the exercise. But for me, I just feel it's actually becomes hard to feel my own feelings. I feel a little bit overwhelmed. It literally feels busy in here. It feels stuffy. It feels like I'm filled with too much stuff. And I will cycle to, like, my old habit is from my brain to cycle and to stop, not being able to stop, like running through old conversations, that kind of thing. So we are going to clear, and we're going to use a little Qigong. So when I'm working with clients one-on-one, I work all remotely, and it's all just, we use our attention, we use our intention, we use our imagination. When I'm working with groups, or when I'm working for myself, and since this is about self-healing, I use a lot of movement. I love Qigong. I love energy medicine. And so I'll show you my favorite movement for clearing. And if you guys want to do it with me, you can. I'll scoot back a little bit so you can see. So we're going to let's rub the hands together first. So your hands are electromagnetic. I always think you know, your intention, your attention, your imagination are such powerful tools. And that's really my go-to and it's what I use. But your hands are electromagnetic. You know, they're super important. So, all right, so shake them out. Okay, let's just hold the palms to face down for a minute, and just imagine, sense or feel, or just know that there's a connection between the earth and your hands. And you might want to imagine like rubber bands between your hands and the ground. Take a breath there. You on gallery. You guys, not me. Okay. And then we're going to inhale, spin your palms to face up and reach up towards the sky and just imagine, make a V with your hands. And you might be able to feel the space between your hands. Take a breath there. Using your imagination, feel, sense, or know that there's a big ball of light, like a big sun ball in between the palms of your hands. Take a breath into it. Okay. And then we're going to slowly pull the hands down. Fingertips, they could touch or they could just be towards each other. And you're clearing your body slowly, pulling this sun down through your body. And then you could rest your hands in your lap or keep going. I know we're sitting down. Usually I do this standing up, but keep going and imagine that sun dropping all the way down to your feet.
Mm.
And then, nice. And if I switch mine to gallery view, does that mess everybody up? I notice it keeps moving. It's okay.
Nope, you're spotlighted. So if you're on gallery, everybody will still see you in the spotlight.
Okay, cool. It keeps switching out of gallery for some reason.
Yeah. So now I did it a few times just so that anyways, I just did that for the recording, but you're good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's do that one more time, you guys. Ready? Okay, so you feel the ground first, and then you inhale up, and you feel this V, feel the space between your hands. Take a breath into that. Like I love it's like a blowing into a fire to light up the fire brighter. And then you're going to exhale slowly with your palms facing down. Slowly pull that ball of energy, of heat through your body and down, down, down into your legs, all the way down to your feet. Okay, so that's my go-to for clearing. I also love shaking, which I think I won't mess up my view, so I won't stand up, but you can stand up and just shake out your body too for a full minute. And then when you're done, you feel so good. Should we do that? Do you guys want to do that? Okay, let's do it. I see some heads nodding. Okay, we'll mess up my view. All right. Okay, so you stand up and we'll just do like 30 seconds. And so you can get your heels, you can make your heels pound against the ground. You can shake out your arms, shake out your shoulders, take a couple huge breaths. Good. And you can do this from your seat. You don't have to stand up. Okay, let's just do for 10 more seconds. And stop. Okay, just be totally still. Close your eyes. Have a little bit of bend in your knees so you don't fall over. And feel the tingling in your fingertips and in your toes. And then when you're ready, you can come back to seated. So that's also one of my absolute favorites. There's a singer, Deva Premal. Are you guys familiar with Deva Premal? She sings kirtan, so she'll sing at like yoga gatherings a lot. But I was listening to her talk. She said she flies all the time. They're kind of nomadic, and she said anytime she gets off a flight, an airplane, she'll just go in the bathroom and close the stall and do that for like 5 minutes, and then she feels clear and grounded when she's done. And then I'm curious, I want to open it up to you guys actually. How do you know when you need clearing? Oh yeah, and I'll put the name of Deva Premal in the chat, but you can type it into the chat. How do you know when you need to be cleared or when you have too many other people in your energy field?
You feel tension.
Tension in your body?
Yeah, and let's go ahead and put it in the chat so we have the record. If you wouldn't mind just dropping your comments in the chat would be awesome. And I'm putting in Deva Premal.
Yes, yeah, and I just did it too.
Okay, great. Awesome. And you're saying, okay. So ways that you know you need clearing, you say, when I feel that things make no sense in the circumstances, oh, that's awesome. Buzzing all over. Whenever I'm in need for clearing, I'm in such a sensitive, I can get overwhelmed. That's a really, so yeah, feeling of overwhelm. You say, I feel the busy inside and I start to sense everything and everyone at once. Ooh, wow, that's intense. Randy, usually between sessions, I need to shake off the previous session. Yes. Yeah. That's so good. Lack of clarity, says Andrea. Upset or angry, and I don't know why. Yeah, I think that is super true. Heaviness, stuckness, old patterns. Susan says, and then, and that's the truth is like when we forget where we are, we revert to old stuff. Totally. Linda saying, I can tell when thoughts are not my own and not of God. I love that you said that, Linda, because that is like, and if you have at some point, if you happen to pick up an entity, and it can happen to anyone, is those entities will whisper in dark thoughts. And you can be like, I'm a really happy person. Why am I all of a sudden having these incredible, like, I don't want to live, like, what's wrong? You know what I mean? Like crazy thoughts. And where did that come from? And it can be an entity. So yeah, you need to clear. Especially if it's like, oh, I was really happy yesterday and I'm just in a foul humor today. Could be that great opportunity to clear. Stagnation in the body, says Paulina. Yes. Sishu says, or you don't know what is happening in the present moment and have no idea what to think. Interesting. And then you're saying, go to too in-depth thinking about situations. So yeah, so you're getting, again, the spinning thoughts, right? Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, you guys. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Good thinking. Thank you so much for that.
Really good. And I just want to say, like, I love that you said, someone mentioned, you know, just the dark thoughts or feeling like the thoughts aren't actually yours or aren't consistent with who you are. I just had COVID. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but I just had COVID and it took me, like, it really, my mood was like for the, like, a couple of days after, like, my body was recovered, but I was like, something is in here that is not my, so I had to do a lot of clearing. And I wonder if you guys have noticed when you're in those kind of vulnerable places, maybe your health is down. Are you more open? Have you guys noticed? Are you more open to, have you noticed that, Anne? Like more open to intrusion, I guess.
I think anytime that whenever your vibration dips, then, and so certainly being like physical illness, you're definitely more open to picking up stuff that's around you or feeling the negative energies that are around you. So yeah, it's a good way to know, like, if you're like, for example, if you're coming up for the holidays, if you have to go back to a home situation where maybe it's not always fun and you revert to old patterns, it's very easy to pick up junk that's not your own because your vibration dips, right? So yeah, anytime I think that you feel traveling, like anytime you feel like you're physically stressed, for sure, you're more vulnerable. So extra opportunities for clearing your energy. Yeah, I think that's really, really great to keep in mind.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, luckily.
And we're getting some confirmation. We're here to say, Brandy's saying definitely big time for me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Okay. The next one is centering. And so I love this actually, because I've started to think of, are you guys familiar with Lynn McTaggart? We could put that in the chat too. She wrote a book called The Intention Experiment, and this was huge for me. Like, what she wrote in that was huge for me in understanding really all three of these concepts, but I think maybe centering the most. She talks about being, sorry, there's my COVID brain, coherent, being in a state of coherence. And you know, when a laser beam is nothing more than coherent light. Because all of the light particles are lining up in one direction, right? And I feel like that's what we do when we're centering. I feel like most of us run around and we're like disco balls. And so a disco ball, the light is refracting in all different directions. It's scattering all over the place, and it's fun and it looks pretty and like great for a party, but it can't do a lot of work. If you're a laser beam, you can cut through metal, you can do eye surgery, you're powerful, right? So centering is really about, I think, for me, in my mind, I think about it as turning from a disco ball into a laser beam. So what we're going to work with when we center is one of the most important, I think actually the most important piece of your energetic anatomy, and that's the central channel or the central column. And your central channel runs from the crown of your head down to your feet. And I always think of it as like this wide tube like that, you know, running through the center of my body. And then we can work on expanding it out further and dropping it down further. But for now, let's just focus inside the body. And let's use some movement. So we'll use some Qigong with this one as well, with centering. And this is one of my favorite things. Usually I would do this standing again, but I'm going to be seated for now. So rub your hands together if you want to do this with me. Okay. And then in Qigong, they usually keep, you know, hands at the dantian, which is right, the lower belly. You have your hands wherever you want, but we're going to inhale one arm up, and it's like you're gathering all of your attention and all of your energy. And then you're going to pull that hand down through your center line and let it meet the other hand at the second chakra or the dantian. And then when you inhale, sweep your other arm up, gathering all of your attention, all of your energy, and pull it right down into your midline. And if you close your eyes, you might be able to even feel more. We're going to do that a few more times. And I'll just be quiet so you guys can feel this. And I actually love, it's kind of fun to feel where I actually start to want to reach more in front of me or a little bit more behind me. It's like I can feel where my thoughts and my attention are when they're not in my body. In traditional Qigong, you know, that you only follow one path, but you guys are all intuitive, so you can kind of feel around a little bit. Where are your thoughts? Where are your energy? Where do you want to pull it back from? And then draw it into your middle and ground it down in your second chakra. How about one more? Good. And feel how powerful you are. Good. Very nice, you guys. So that's centering. And then I'd love to throw it out to you guys just one more time. Do you guys notice when you aren't centered, or do you resonate with that disco ball concept? How do you know when you are centered and when you aren't centered? And this is for all the people at home who are not just learning energy healing.
And I think it's a separate, like to discern being ungrounded versus holding something that's not you, versus being uncentered. So three sort of like nuances between the three, right?
Yeah.
And Sifu is saying, when you are not present, you are not centered, can't focus or concentrate. So I think that's that idea that scattered energy, when your energy feels scattered and not in the present moment. What do you think? What do you think, Camron?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think with all three of these, it's like I said in the beginning, it's all about taking your attention in and down always, you know, and so when you get these, you can do it very quickly. That's great, guys. Good work. Okay. So
Randy added a couple more additions here. Randy added, I know I'm centered when I feel this laser-like focus. Yeah. Yeah. You know how I totally agree with that, Randy. You know how when for those of you if you ever get into that flow state working on a project, so where you kind of forget time and you like, I feel like I'm in my most centered when I'm in that state, when I just immerse myself in something and you forget, you just forget if there's anything else in the world. Like that's like you're really honed in, Brandy is saying, oh my gosh, I could feel the pull of the gathering, and disco ball was an excellent way to describe me. The disco ball. That is awesome. Donna says, thank you. Trying to determine the difference between feeling ungrounded versus uncentered. Yeah. And Andrea says the word discombobulated comes to mind when thinking about what it's like to be not centered. Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. It's just like that feeling of being scattered. I even think that sometimes being uncentered can be not, we might in the moment not think of it as a bad thing, because there's times when, say, for example, you're out in like in the middle of a really busy city and you're watching the traffic and you're trying to hold a conversation, you're making sure you don't trip on the sidewalk, and you're looking in the store windows and your mind is like in 50 places, but that's exhausting. So sometimes I think being uncentered, or you push your consciousness out in a bunch of directions and you got fingers and all these different things, but then after a while you notice you're just depleted, and so you need to bring everything back in. So I think that uncentered is sometimes useful, but not where we want to be always, because it's exhausting and depleting.
100%. Yeah, very depleting. I just thought of another thing that I find really helpful, and you guys can tell me if you've heard of that. Having a sense of like seating yourself behind your own eyes, because if you close your eyes and you kind of pay attention to your own mind, most of us notice that there's these movie reels playing, or our attention is scattered between, you know, what we need to do later, what we need to do yesterday, or what we did yesterday. But if you can bring your attention right here and have a sense of seating yourself in like, it's like a cockpit right behind your own eyes, that's another way that I know I'm centered. And it can be kind of fun to just practice that for short periods of time. Like, I'm gonna go to the grocery store and see if I can stay seated right behind my own eyes the whole time. And it feels very powerful. It feels very different.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I want to add, by the way, a couple other little comments here. Jen said that when she's uncentered, she's too open to hearing others' thoughts and energies rather than her own intuitive voice. I think that's excellent. Thank you, Jen. That's a great addition. And Sishu added, when I'm coaching my client and listening with full attention, I'm centered. But when I'm trying to think about how to make the session work better while coaching, then I lose my center and I didn't hear what my client is saying. Phenomenal. Yeah, both of those fantastic additions. Thank you, guys. Really, really helpful.
Yeah, really helpful. Do you want to do another one? Okay, so that was grounding, centering, clearing, grounding, clearing, and centering. A couple more that I would love to share. You guys up for a couple more? Okay, all right. Okay, so we've been working really internally, but let's work with smoothing the aura. So your aura, I think of it as, you know, it can be all different sizes, but for the purposes of working with it, it's really useful to think of it at about arm width away. And I'll show you. So this is one that I love so much, and I shared it in one of my classes thinking, oh, I don't know if people are going to get this. But everybody loved it. And I had one student, she's a yoga teacher, so she's got lots of tools. You'd think she'd be great, but she's going through a lot of stuff in her life. And she said she hadn't been sleeping for a month. And we did this exercise, and she finally started sleeping like a baby. So she had something happen out in her auric field that needed to be patched up. And so what we're going to do is patch our aura, basically. So you're going to just rub your hands together. We're going to use that electromagnetic quality in our hands. Take a breath out. Okay, shake them out a little. And then you can close your eyes for this if you want to really tune into what you're feeling here. But when we're stressed out, our aura tends to push in around our body, and we want to make space. So we're going to push the aura out first. And you can just kind of feel all the way around. Where do you need to push your aura out? Is it everywhere? Is it just around your heart? A lot of times I feel like around my face. Like I really want to push my aura out around my face. I'll often feel like the seams too down the sides. Okay. And then once you feel like your aura, and you could do this for a long time, I won't have you do this for too long, but once you feel like your aura is pushed out, and then we're going to patch it up. And so you can imagine like mudding a wall. Like we've got the drywall up, and now we need to mud it. We need to patch up the seams. And so you're going to use your electromagnetic hand and just patch up the seams. And if you're standing, you can get kind of some qigong movement in there and do some twisting up above you. And I'm so be noticing, guys, where you need this, because I'm going to have you put it in the chat in a minute. So are you noticing any holes or any places that feel, for those of you who are really new to this, you don't feel stuff yet, that's okay. I always ask really open-ended questions like, what do you notice? If there was a hole somewhere in your auric field, where would it be? There, open-ended questions tend to be a little less intimidating. Okay. All right. And just 5 more seconds. And then good to me. All right. And then when you're ready, if you want to put something in the chat, let me know where you were feeling. What did you notice? Did you notice any holes?
Issue adds there are cracks like an egg crack. Super cool. Super cool. So great noticing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed that there was that I tend to get things just get a little dense or congested in this area. So it just feels great. It feels like waking up fresh in the morning to be able to push that out and away a little bit and create more spaciousness. Abier I noticed a strong connection with my aura, like a welcoming feeling. And then someone says, mine is super fluffy. That's awesome.
Fluffy. Fluffy's good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love that.
That's
Sweet.
great. Great. Yeah, no, I love that exercise. Very cool.
Okay. And I have, should we do one more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. So this is something I always forget, actually. So I'm really glad we're doing this because it's really important to fill yourself. So we did all this work to ground and clear, but you also need to fill yourself with what you want in your aura. So we made a lot of space, and we worked with the structure. So now we've got the structure, we've got the central column, we made space. But think about what it is how do you want to feel today? So what's the energy moving forward that you want in your life today? And I think oftentimes I'll clear myself and just assume that whatever's good is going to come in. But I think that this is going to be my challenge in this week is to really be conscientious about what I'm bringing in. And so the number one thing, I see a lot of your heads nodding, so that's good. So be thinking about that. For me, one of the number one things is that I want the energy of me. Like I want me in my body. I want my own soul's energy in my body. That's number one. Number two, I always think about like joy. For me, joy for no reason is what I really want to experience in my day. I want to experience, right? I know. Joy for no reason. And when I think about joy for no reason, it feels like golden champagne. I love champagne. It feels like golden champagne bubbles. And so go ahead and think about what it is that you want to bring into your life. And if there was a color that you could put with that, or a texture or a quality, what does that feel like and what does that look like? And you can type that into chat if you want to. Share with everyone, give some ideas.
And Sishu added, to feel heart being completely open. Abier said rose gold shimmer. Very nice. Monique is saying calm, smooth. Very nice. It's interesting. I bet you if we all broke out as like fire sign, water sign, earth sign, like I bet we would all be looking for a different felt experience based on, how what elements we gravitate to. And he says rainbows. I love it. Donna says rose gold. Yes. Childlike happiness. Love it.
I love it.
And then one person is saying high vibe fun, pink and sparkle. And so I love it. And do notice like the difference, right? Like some people want like really calm, serene. Other people are like, I want rainbows and sparkles. And it's, you know what I mean? Like we're all different, what it is we want to bring in. And Randy went shimmering energy. I love it.
Love it. Well, let's bring it in, shall we?
Yeah.
So we'll use a little more qigong. Okay, and so let's do that same thing. So go ahead and just feel the earth.
I have to add really quick before we do. Brandy is adding, for the previous exercise, I have just had an amazing psychic clearing, and the results have been just as amazing since I was found to have 3 gaping holes in my aura, and why I felt for so long that I was perhaps approaching my exit point, opening my heart chakra completely and live there constantly. So that's really just a great testament to the power of patching up your aura. Very, very cool. And Sishu wants to add calm water energy that keeps you in the flow. I love that. I love that. Right on, Brandy. Woohoo. All right.
Your water sign. Okay. That's so good. All right. Okay, so let's reach up, and we're going to do that same thing. I want you to feel the space between your hands. Imagine that big ball of energy between your hands. So this time, instead of a big golden sun, it's whatever energy you want to bring in. So what is the quality? What is the texture? What is the feeling? What is the color? And take a breath into it, maybe blow into it, getting it brighter, calmer, clear, whatever it is you're wanting. And then we're going to slowly, like we did before, bring the fingertips together and pull that energy down through the body, seeing, imagining, sensing, feeling it moving through every cell, and then down through your legs all the way to your feet. And we can do it one more time if you guys would like to, reaching up, blowing into that ball of light above you with whatever quality you are wanting. And then know that you have the power to pull that energy into your body. It's just a choice. It's choosing that energy, bringing it into your body slowly, pulling it down through all the way to your toes. Well done. Good, you guys all look sparkly. Very nice. So those are the exercises today. If there are questions, do we have time for questions or?
We do have a little time for questions. If you guys have anything that came up for you in the process of this, I have loved this, Camron, like super, super cool. And I bet you all of you added some really awesome. And what I love about the tools that you shared is that they are, because some of them are using Qigong and they're physical, that I think even if you're in a really distracted state, you don't have to be, in other words, super present. You could just do this and help get you back to that present state. So very, very cool tools to add to our repertoire. I will be using some of these. It'll be really cool. Yeah.
And that's exactly right. I find, I don't know about you guys, but I find it sometimes it's harder to get present when I don't have other people with me. Mm-hmm. If I'm in a session, I'm like right there. But if it's just me, there's so many distractions. And so having some movement helps. I think you're right. That's why movement helps a lot.
Yeah. And we got some comments. Sharon says, grateful for you sharing your time in these techniques today. Feeling good now. Super awesome. Annie says, yes, simple. This is all so much more simple than I imagined. Awesome. Brandy's saying, will we be able to replay this? Yes, absolutely. We have a Wisdom Soup YouTube channel. So if you just go to YouTube and search Wisdom Soup, you'll see a bunch of past talks. And this one will also be posted there after today. And then Susan is saying, yes, thank you. Feeling very calm and relaxed. Awesome. Great stuff to add to my toolbox. Woohoo. Michelle saying, I've been asking for a bridge back to the more of me. And this is a good reminder of how simple it can be. Do you know something about that is so funny? I once took this a very cool course that had a lot of good information, but she insisted that we used her clearing process every single time before we would go into session, and during what we were doing in the course. And her clearing practice was insanely complicated. It was like you've got sprinklers coming out of your head and out of your second chakra, and you're moving, and then you're moving this way and that way. And I mean, it was like you needed a master's degree just to govern it was nuts. And it was like I'd get a headache doing her clearing process. So anyways, the point received, yes, simple. It can be really, really, really effective and really good. Donna saying, feeling light and happy. Thanks so much for these helpful techniques, Camron and Anne, for organizing. You are so welcome. Sishu is saying, it is received on time, just was attacked by a dark entity 2 days ago. I'm so glad that you had this help, Sishu. I know what you mean. Okay, Abier says, so grateful for this wonderful session with easy to implement clearing and centering techniques that I'll incorporate into my daily routine. Super cool. And Camron, can you tell us, I know that you do, that you expand on this significantly in your work. Can you tell us what that is and what you have going on with that?
Yes. So starting November 3rd, and I'm going to be teaching a 6-week course. And it's going to be a really small group. It's in my home, so only 6 people. And it's soulsourcedenergy.com, and I can put it in the chat if you want. But yeah, it's only 6 people. It's in my home, and it's 6 weeks, and we go into all these. This is just one day of what we do, and we'll expand on this more in the course. But every course ends with a healing and a clearing. From me. I'll be flowing Reiki energy to the group. And then I'm just really excited to work with people in person. I've taught this course several times online. This will be the first time I've done it in person. And it's almost like I don't want to put too many structures around it. Yet there is a structure for sure. There's a different subject every single day. But I'm just excited to see what will happen when there's 6 people all together. And I'm excited to have people maybe work a little bit on each other. The focus is really on self-healing. But I'm excited, just to work with people in person.
That is super cool. So what they would expect in the course would be learning these types of self-healing techniques, but each day dedicated or focused on a different thing. So I imagine by the end of the course, they would have a real fluency with how to identify what's going on in their field and then also what to do about it. Is that right?
Yeah, very much. Yeah. And there's a real focus on learning your energetic anatomy and how to work with each piece of your energetic anatomy. We'll focus on the chakras. Tons of exercises. We'll do a little bit of Qigong, energy medicine. I love energy medicine with Donna Eden. We'll do a little bit of that every day. So a little bit of movement, a lot of meditation, a lot of good information.
Super. And you are in the Seattle area, correct?
Yes, I'm in Magnolia. So anybody who's in Ballard or Queen Anne or Seattle area, in that area would.
And is it soulsourceenergy.com? Is that right?
Yeah, Soul Source. So maybe I will.
Is it SOULSOURCE energy? Soul Source Energy?
With a D on the end.
Oh, Soul Sourced Energy. Yeah. Why don't you type it in really quick if you would, to make sure, because I'm not sure if I spelled it correctly. So if you could type that in for anybody. There you go. So there's the link, you guys. And then we have a couple questions. Someone saying, Randy is saying, namaste, everyone. I'm so grateful for all you do. Thank you. Looking forward to listening again. Thank you. You're very welcome. And then Sishu is saying, what do you suggest when you are hyperventilating, feel like having a hard time to do deep breathing? Like you want to take a deep breath, but couldn't. Then at that moment, what action to take?
I would definitely go for the movement. And, you have, rub your hands together, try placing them here. This is where Donna Eden's techniques I find really, really helpful. There's one for calming what's called your triple warmer meridian. Do we have time for that?
Yeah.
And that really quick?
Yes. Before you go into it, Denise is asking, would it be possible to attend your course on, like, do a hybrid if they're in another country? So could they Zoom in and be part of the group? So you have to think about that, but people are asking that. I
know. So this one, the one that will be November 3rd, is just going to be local. But I am going to run as long as there's interest, I'll keep running this course and I'll do it again online. So just get in touch with me if you're interested in. I have more time in January. Like I'll probably run another one in January.
Okay. And can they find a way to connect with you on your website on soulsourceenergy.com? Okay.
On my website, you can connect. My email and everything is there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So so show us so hands around the neck.
Okay. So this is one, but if you want the longer version, this is for sending your triple warmer energies going backwards to calm you. So you rub your palms together. You're going to cover your eyes with your palms so that your fingers are over your forehead, and then just take a breath here. Take a big exhale. So breath, I know it's hard to breathe, but focus more on the exhale than the inhale, and that's going to calm your nervous system, tell your body it's safe. Okay, now you're going to take your fingertips and rub your fingertips along your eyebrows 3 times, or however many times feels good, but we'll do 3. And then take your fingertips and rest them at the upper edge of your temple. And just here, and take a breath, focusing on the exhale, telling your body you're safe. Okay. We're going to take those palms, those electromagnetic palms, and rub up over the ears, behind the ears, and down below. And now rest at the side of the neck here. Take a breath. Good. And then slide your hands. You could get a little shoulder massage in here. That feels good. Or we're going to slide our hands down to the heart, and just one hand over the other, resting at the heart. All right, so that's the calming the triple warmer exercise from Eden Energy Medicine.
Love that one. That's beautiful. And I'm also a big Donna Eden fan. So yes. Super cool.
hopefully that helps a little bit. And there's so many more exercises that I think that's the most.
And Camron, you recommend that one for when people have a heart, when they are having a hard time breathing deeply, the triple warmer is what you suggest for that?
For sure. Yeah. Because you need to calm the nervous system down. And so any kind of slow, this for sure, you're working with your meridians, but any kind of slow movement is going to be great as well. Even if it's cat-cow with your breath, super slow, it's going to help calm.
Fantastic. I think we're all super chill now. Everybody is like, ah. All right. And so she's saying, love that to make body feel safe. Yes, that's exactly what we need when we are hyperventilating. Also EFT too, I guess. Yeah. Tapping is a whole nother thing to go into, but tapping is super helpful.
And I know it's super powerful. I'm not familiar with it though. That's not.
Yeah. And Brandy is asking, are you asking she's asking, what was that name again? The name of the exercise is called the triple warmer. And it's from
smoothie, actually, is what she calls it.
Start again.
The triple warmer smoothie.
Smoothie. Okay. And the triple warmer is like a meridian that she talks about. Yeah. And the practitioner is Donna Eden, Donna Eden is she kind of is a real pioneer in the whole energy field. So she's a clairvoyant who can actually see the energy moving in the body. And she's in her probably somewhere in her maybe mid to late 70s or early 80s now. So she's really big, but her book is what's used in a lot of foundation courses in how to do energy healing. So anyway, so it's a great source to look at if you are unfamiliar. But anyways,
she healed herself. She was on the edge of death she has MS and her organs were shutting down and she figured out how to heal herself.
Yeah. So her base of knowledge is huge. So it helps to have someone like Camron to sift through all of it and to show you what you can take from it and what you can use in a practical way. So, because there are lots of it between Qigong and Donna Eden, and there's so many different things out there that all work, but it's coming up with a practice that is simple and effective that you can use in a moment's notice. I think having that guidance is really, really helpful. Yeah.
And that's my MO for sure, is like simple. I have 2 kids. I don't have time to do a complicated routine. It's like I need it to be simple, quick, effective, and I need to be able to remember. So
yeah, for sure. Like the sprinkler technique. I don't want the sprinkler technique. It's too complicated. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us for this very, very awesome wisdom soup. For those of you who have been looking for energy healing techniques, I think for self-healing techniques, I think this has given us a huge starting point. For those of you who want to connect with Camron, I will make sure that I put her website in the description box and in the comments in my Facebook group and in the description box on YouTube. So you'll be able to find her again. So lots of hugs to you guys. We are always meeting, as you guys know, second Thursday of the month, and it's the time on the second Thursday varies based on where people are located. So we sometimes put it at 10 a.m. Sometimes we blew it in the evening so we can pick people or get people from different parts of the world. And thank you so much for being part of the community. I appreciate you guys very much. It's wonderful to see all of your beautiful faces. So have a fantastic day. Thank you so much, Camron.
Thank you. That was fun.
And
thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Bye, you guys.
Bye, you all. Thank you too.
Bye.